She sent the photo to the wrong number. He showed up at her door 30 minutes later, shaking, breathless, claiming those babies were his. But she'd never seen this man before in her life. Or had she? Because when he pulled out his phone and showed her a picture from 8 months ago, everything she thought she knew shattered. He's a billionaire. She's a single mother-to-be. And the truth between them? It's more impossible than either of them can survive. This is the twin mistake, and nothing will ever be the same. Hello, everyone. Before we begin, please subscribe and help me reach 1,000 subscribers. Your support means everything, and I promise you won't regret this journey. Now, let's dive into the story. The doorbell rang at 9:47 p.m. Amara wasn't expecting anyone. Her hand instinctively went to her belly, a protective gesture she'd developed over the past few months, as though her palm could shield the 2 lives growing inside her from the unpredictability of the world. She opened the door cautiously, chain still latched, and froze. The man standing on her porch didn't belong there. He didn't belong anywhere ordinary. He was the kind of presence that commanded rooms, that turned heads, that made silence feel heavy. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a black coat that probably cost more than her rent. His face was all sharp angles and controlled intensity, except for his eyes. His eyes were wild. Amara Cole? His voice was low, accent thick, Korean inflection softening the edges of her name. Who's asking? She kept her tone steady, though her pulse quickened. My name is Kang Jun-woo. He took a breath, and she saw his hands tremble slightly at his sides. And I need you to listen to me very carefully. I don't know you. I know. He stepped closer, and she almost closed the door. But you sent me a photo 29 minutes ago. A photo of... His gaze dropped to her belly, and something cracked in his expression. Of my children. The world tilted. Excuse me? Those twins. He pointed, not touching, but the gesture felt invasive anyway. They're mine. Amara's laugh came out sharp and disbelieving. You're insane. I've never seen you before in my life. I have proof. Proof of what? That you're a creep who shows up at pregnant women's houses with delusions? Please. The word came out ragged, desperate. Just look. Against every instinct screaming at her to slam the door, she hesitated. Maybe it was the rawness in his voice. Maybe it was the way his hands shook as he reached for his phone. Maybe it was the impossible certainty in his eyes. Like he was holding on to this moment as though it was the only thing keeping him upright. She unlatched the chain. He stepped into the light of her doorway, and she saw him fully now. Younger than she'd first thought, maybe 32, 33, exhausted. Beautiful in that untouchable way some people were, like sculptures in museums. But right now, he looked breakable. He held out his phone. The photograph on the screen made her knees weak. It was her, asleep, curled on white sheets in a room she didn't recognize. Her hair spread across a pillow. Her face soft and unguarded in a way she never allowed herself to be while awake. And beside her, barely visible in the frame, a man's hand resting near her shoulder. His hand. Where did you get this? Her voice came out strangled. 8 months ago, he said quietly. February 14th, the Greenfield Hotel. Room 742. No. She shook her head, backing away. No. I've never been there. I don't remember. You were there. His voice was gentle now, almost tender. We were both there. That's impossible. Amara. He said her name like a prayer, like something he'd been repeating to himself in the dark for months. I've been looking for you since that night. Her back hit the wall. The twins kicked, sharp, insistent reminders that her body knew truths her mind refused. If this is some kind of scam, I don't want your money. I don't want anything except the truth. He pocketed his phone, and she saw the exhaustion in every line of his face. 8 months ago, I woke up in that hotel room alone. No note, no name, no way to find you. Just the memory of your face and the certainty that I'd just spent the most important night of my life with a stranger I'd never see again. Stop. I hired investigators, searched every database, went through security footage. Nothing. You were a ghost. His laugh was bitter. And then tonight, my phone lit up with a photo of a woman I've been dreaming about for 8 months, pregnant with twins I somehow know, in a way I can't explain, are mine. Amara pressed her palms against her temples. This isn't real. This isn't... How far along are you? 6 months. When's your due date? Early March. He did the math in his head, and she watched something like relief and terror cross his face simultaneously. February. It lines up. Coincidence. Is it? He took a step closer, and she smelled his cologne, cedar and something darker, something that stirred a memory she couldn't quite grasp. Have you been with anyone else? The question should have felt invasive. Instead, it felt like he already knew the answer. No, she whispered. But that doesn't mean... It means everything. His voice dropped. Amara, I don't know what happened that night. I don't know why neither of us remembers it clearly. But those babies... He gestured toward her belly again, and this time his hand lingered in the air as though he wanted to touch but didn't dare. They're ours. You can't possibly know that. I do. He met her eyes, and the certainty there was unshakable. The same way you do. And God help her. He was right. Because beneath the fear and confusion and sheer impossibility of this moment, something in her recognized him. Not consciously, not in any way she could articulate, but her body knew. The twins knew. The part of her that had woken up 8 months ago in her own bed with no memory of the night before and a strange ache in her chest. That part knew. I need a paternity test, she said finally. Done. Tomorrow. I'll arrange everything. And if you're wrong? I'm not. But he softened. If I'm wrong, I'll disappear. You'll never see me again. And if you're right? Junwoo looked at her belly, then back at her face. Then we figure out what comes next. Together. The word hung between them. Together. Amara closed her eyes. Her whole life she'd been alone. Built her world carefully, precisely, with walls high enough to keep out the chaos. And now this man, this impossible stranger, was standing in her doorway claiming he'd already breached every defense she had 8 months ago. I don't even know you, she whispered. No, he agreed, but you will. And somehow, that felt like both a promise and a threat. Amara didn't sleep. She sat on her couch until 3 a.m., staring at her phone, at the business card Junwoo had left before departing. Simple. Expensive cardstock. Just his name and a single phone number. Kang Junwoo. She Googled him. The results made her stomach drop. CEO of Kang Industries. Net worth estimated at $3 billion. One of the youngest self-made billionaires in tech and real estate. Notoriously private. Rarely photographed. The few images that existed showed a man in sharp suits at charity galas, always slightly apart from the crowd, always alone. No dating history, no scandals, no personal life to speak of, just power and silence. And now he was claiming her twins were his. At 6 a.m., her phone rang. There's a car outside your building. Junwoo's voice came through calm and steady. It'll take you to the clinic. Private facility. Discreet. The test will take 2 hours. You don't waste time. I've wasted 8 months. A pause. I won't waste another day. The clinic was pristine. All glass and white surfaces and staff who spoke in hushed tones like they were handling something sacred. Junwoo was already there when she arrived, standing by the window, silhouetted against the morning light. He turned when she entered. Thank you for coming. I want answers, she said simply. So do I. The procedure was quick, painless. A cheek swab for him, a blood draw for her. The technician assured them results would be ready by noon. They waited in a private room. Silence stretched between them, heavy with questions neither knew how to ask. Finally, Amara spoke. Tell me about that night. Junwoo leaned back in his chair, eyes distant. I was in town for a conference. Stayed at the Greenfield. I don't usually drink, but that night. He trailed off. There was a hotel bar. I went down around 11 p.m., needed to clear my head. And you were there. Amara's breath caught. I was? Sitting alone at the end of the bar. You looked. He struggled for words. Lost. Beautiful. Like you were searching for something you couldn't name. His gaze found hers. I've never approached a stranger in my life. I don't do spontaneous. I don't do reckless. But I sat down beside you, and you turned to me and... What? You smiled. His voice went soft, and I forgot how to breathe. She wanted to remember, desperately, but there was only fog where that night should be. What happened then? We talked, for hours, about everything and nothing. You told me about your mother's garden in Virginia. I told you about growing up in Seoul. You laughed at my terrible English jokes. He stopped, something vulnerable crossing his face. I felt human. For the first time in years, I felt like more than the empire I'd built. And then, you said you were tired. I walked you to the elevator. You asked if I wanted to see the view from your room. He met her eyes. I should have said no. But you didn't. No. The word was barely audible. I didn't. Amara pressed her hand to her belly, feeling the twins shift. I don't remember any of it. Neither do I, not clearly. Frustration bled into his voice. I remember fragments, your laugh, the way you looked at me like I was just a man, not a name or a fortune. Waking up alone with the certainty that I'd just lost something irreplaceable. Maybe we were drugged. The suggestion hung heavy. Junwoo's expression darkened. I had the hotel investigated. Nothing came up. But yes, I've considered it. The memory loss, the gaps. It's not normal. So what are we supposed to do with that? Find the truth. He leaned forward, intensity radiating from him. Together. There was that word again. Before Amara could respond, the technician knocked. Results are ready. The manila envelope felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Junwoo gestured for her to open it. You should be the one. Her hands shook as she pulled out the paper. Clinical language, percentages. And at the bottom, highlighted in yellow, probability of paternity, 99. 99%. The room tilted. They're yours, she whispered. Junwoo stood abruptly, turning away, and she saw his shoulders shake. When he spoke, his voice was wrecked. I have children. We have children, she corrected, the reality crashing over her. He turned back, and there were tears on his face, unashamed, raw. I've spent my entire life building things, companies, empires, legacies, and in one night I didn't remember. I created the only thing that actually matters. Amara's own tears fell. What do we do now? I don't know. He crossed the room, stopped just before touching her. But I know I want to be there. For them. For you. However you'll let me. You're a stranger. Then let me not be. His hand hovered near her belly, asking permission. She took his hand and placed it against the curve where their children grew. The twins kicked. Junwoo's breath hitched. They're real. Very real. A laugh escaped her, slightly hysterical. And very much here in 3 months. 3 months. He repeated it like a prayer and a panic attack simultaneously. Amara, don't. She stepped back, needing space. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't tell me this is fate or destiny or meant to be. We don't know each other. We have to figure out how to do this without pretending it's something it's not. What if I want it to be something? The question came out quiet. Dangerous. Then you're moving too fast. He nodded slowly, understanding. Okay. Then we start slow. Let me take you to dinner. Dinner? You need to eat. The twins need you to eat. And I need to prove I'm more than a DNA test and a night neither of us remembers. Despite everything, she smiled. One dinner, he agreed. And maybe eventually 1,000 more. Junwoo picked her up at 7 p.m. The car was exactly what she expected. Sleek, black, with a driver who nodded respectfully but didn't speak. What she didn't expect was the restaurant, not some Michelin-starred palace designed to impress. Instead, a small Ethiopian place tucked into a neighborhood she recognized, with bright paintings on the walls and the smell of berbere and injera filling the air. "How did you know?" she asked as they settled into a corner booth. "Know what?" "That I'd want this instead of..." She gestured vaguely. "Whatever billionaires usually do for dinner." His smile was slight but genuine. "I did my research." "Research. Your Instagram, food blog you abandoned in 2022. That interview you did for the community center newsletter about your mother's cooking." He paused. "You said home tastes like spice and warmth and her hands shaping injera on Saturday mornings." Amara's throat tightened. "You read that?" "I read everything I could find." He looked almost embarrassed. "I wanted to know you." "That's borderline stalking." "Yes," he admitted. "But I didn't know how else to start." The waiter came, and Junwoo ordered in halting Amharic, badly pronounced but earnest. The waiter's face lit up, and they exchanged a few more phrases before he hurried off. "You learned Amharic?" Amara stared. 4 phrases. Badly. He shrugged. "I have 3 months to become someone your children won't be embarrassed by." Something in her chest cracked open. "You don't have to perform for me, Junwoo." "I'm not performing." He met her eyes. "I'm trying. There's a difference." The food came in colorful arrays: Doro Wat, Kitfo, Gomen, all served family style on a large platter. Amara taught him how to tear the injera, how to scoop, how to eat with his hands. His first attempt was clumsy. His second was better. By the third, she was laughing. "You're terrible at this," she said. "I'm learning." He smiled, and it transformed his face, made him look younger, less like a billionaire and more like just a man. They ate and talked. She learned he was an only child who'd built his first company at 23 with money borrowed from his mother's retirement fund, that he'd paid her back tenfold but still felt guilty, that he worked 16-hour days because silence felt safer than stillness. He learned she was a graphic designer who'd moved to the States at 19 after her mother died, that she'd built her life carefully, deliberately, alone because trusting people felt like inviting chaos, that she was terrified of motherhood, but also desperately wanted it. "Why twins?" he asked suddenly. "What? When you found out? Were you scared? Happy?" Amara considered the question. "Both. Neither. I was. Overwhelmed. I'd just accepted I was pregnant. Barely processed that. And then they told me there were 2. She laughed softly. "I cried in the ultrasound room for 20 minutes. And now? Now I'm still terrified. But also," she touched her belly, "also in love. Completely, impossibly in love with 2 people I haven't even met yet." Junwoo's expression softened. "They're lucky. We'll see if they think that when they're teenagers and I'm a disaster." "You won't be. You don't know that." "I do." He reached across the table, and this time she let him take her hand. "Because you're already fighting for them. Already building a life that puts them first. That's not disaster. That's love." Amara looked at their joined hands, his pale against her deep brown, his calloused from work she couldn't imagine, hers paint-stained from a design project she'd been working on. "I'm still angry," she said quietly. "At me?" "At the situation. At the fact that I don't remember the night that changed everything. At you for showing up and making this complicated. Complicated is fair. But also," she squeezed his hand, "also grateful. Because as terrifying as this is, they deserve to have you. If you mean what you say." "I mean every word." His voice was steady, certain. "Amara, I don't know how to be a father. I don't know how to be in someone's life without controlling it. I'm used to problems I can solve with money or strategy or sheer will. But this," he gestured between them, "this isn't a problem to solve. It's a life to build." "Together," she said, testing the word. "Together." he agreed. They stayed until the restaurant closed, talking until the words ran out and comfortable silence took over. When Junwoo walked her to her door, he didn't try to kiss her, didn't ask to come inside, just looked at her like she was the answer to every question he'd never known to ask. "Can I see you tomorrow?" he asked. "Tomorrow? And the day after? And the day after that?" His smile was crooked, vulnerable. "I have 3 months to become someone you might trust. I don't want to waste them." Amara should have said no, should have insisted on space, on boundaries, on the careful distance she'd spent years perfecting. Instead, she said, "Breakfast." "Breakfast?" The twins like pancakes, apparently. She smiled. 9 a.m., my place. Joy, pure and unguarded, crossed his face. "I'll bring syrup." She watched him leave, watched the expensive car disappear into the night. And for the first time in 8 months, the weight on her chest felt a little lighter. Like maybe, impossibly, this could work. Like maybe fate knew what it was doing when it sent that photograph to the wrong number. Like maybe love didn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just showed up at your door, desperate and certain, claiming the impossible. And sometimes the impossible turned out to be the only truth that mattered. Junwoo arrived at 8:47 a.m. with maple syrup, fresh strawberries, and a nervousness that made him almost endearing. "You're early," Amara said, opening the door in her pajamas, an old college t-shirt that barely stretched over her belly anymore. "I couldn't sleep." He held up the grocery bag like an offering. "I also brought blueberries, in case the twins changed their minds." She laughed despite herself. "Come in." Her apartment was small, but warm, filled with plants and colorful throw pillows, and half-finished design projects scattered across every surface. Junwoo looked around like he was memorizing it, cataloging every detail. "It's not much," she started. "It's perfect." He meant it. "It's you." They made pancakes together in her tiny kitchen. He was terrible at flipping them, too cautious, too precise. She took over, showing him the wrist motion, the timing. Their hands brushed, the twins kicked. And for a moment, it almost felt normal. Until her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this Amara Cole?" A woman's voice. Professional. Cold. "Yes? My name is Catherine Park. I'm calling on behalf of the Kang family." A pause. "I understand you've been in contact with Junwoo." Amara's blood went cold. She looked at Junwoo, who'd gone very still. "How did you get this number?" "Ms. Cole, I'm going to be direct. The Kang family has concerns about your relationship with Junwoo and the claims you've made regarding your pregnancy." "Claims?" Her voice rose. "I didn't make any. We'd like to arrange a meeting to discuss terms." "Terms?" "Compensation for your silence. A reasonable settlement to ensure this matter doesn't become public." Amara's hand tightened on the phone. "You think I want money?" "Everyone wants money, Ms. Cole." Catherine's tone was patient, patronizing. "We're simply offering a more dignified path forward than the alternative." The alternative being what? Legal action, custody disputes. Very public questions about paternity fraud and financial exploitation of wealthy men. Rage, white-hot and clarifying, flooded through her. "Those babies are his. We have a test. Tests can be fabricated. Situations can be misrepresented." Catherine sighed. "Ms. Cole, I've handled situations like this before. It's better for everyone if we resolve this quietly." Junwoo crossed the kitchen in 3 strides and took the phone from her hand. "Catherine." His voice was ice. "You're fired." "Junwoo, your mother asked me to—" "I don't care what my mother asked. You don't contact Amara. You don't threaten her. You don't offer her money like she's a problem to solve." His jaw was tight. "Consider this your notice. Security will escort you out of the building by noon." He hung up. Silence filled the kitchen. "Your mother knows?" Amara's voice was small. Junwoo set the phone down carefully. "I told my family yesterday, after the test." He looked at her, expression guarded. "I should have warned you they'd react this way." This way meaning what? Bribing me? Threatening me? Protecting the family name? Bitterness edged his words. It's what they do. It's all they know. And what do you do? He met her eyes. I choose you and them. His hand moved toward her belly but stopped. I choose our family, not the one I was born into. Amara wanted to believe him, but doubt crept in, cold and insidious. Your mother is going to be a problem. Yes. And your family will fight this. Yes. So what happens when they make this ugly? When they come after me with lawyers and investigators and... They won't. His voice was absolute. Because I'll make it clear that if they touch you, they lose me, the company, everything I've built that bears their name. He stepped closer. Amara, I know this is terrifying. I know I'm asking you to trust me when you barely know me. But I'm not them. I won't let them hurt you. You can't promise that. Watch me. The pancakes burned on the stove. Neither of them noticed. Amara sank into a chair, suddenly exhausted. This is too much. Too fast. Too... I know. He knelt in front of her. And the sight of this powerful man on his knees in her kitchen made something in her chest ache. And if you want me to leave, I will. I'll make sure you're protected. Make sure you have everything you need. And I'll stay away until you're ready. Is that what you want? God, no. The words came out raw. I want to be here. Every morning. Every appointment. Every moment. I want to learn how you take your coffee and what makes you laugh, and how to make the twins stop kicking when you can't sleep. He touched her knee lightly. But I want what you want more. Amara looked at him. Really looked. At the exhaustion in his eyes. The desperation barely contained. The hope he was trying so hard not to show. I want you to stay, she whispered. But I need you to understand something. Anything. I've been alone my whole life. Built everything myself. And I'm terrified that letting you in means losing the control I've fought so hard for. Her voice cracked. I'm terrified your world is going to swallow mine whole. Then we build a new world. He took her hands. Not mine, not yours, ours. Where your voice is the loudest one in the room and my money means nothing compared to your trust. Pretty words. True words. He squeezed her hands. Test me. Push me. Make me prove it every single day. I'm not going anywhere. The twins kicked hard, like they were weighing in. Amara laughed through tears. They like you. They have good taste. She pulled him up, into her arms, and let herself lean into his steadiness. Just for a moment. Just to see what it felt like. It felt like coming home to a place she'd never been. Your mother is going to hate me, she murmured against his shoulder. My mother hates everyone. He pulled back, brushed a tear from her cheek. Including me most days. What do? We have breakfast. We forget the world exists for a few more hours. His smile was soft. And then we face whatever comes next. Together. There was that word again. And this time it didn't sound so impossible. The article dropped 3 days later. Billionaire Kang Junwoo's secret pregnancy scandal. Gold digger or genuine love. Amara's face was pixelated, but not enough. Her name was public. Her address was hinted at. Her entire life was being dissected by strangers on the internet who'd never met her, but had already decided she was either a victim or a villain. She called Junwoo at 6 a.m., voice shaking. I'm outside, he said. Let me in. He'd been there all night, parked outside her building, waiting. She opened the door, and he looked wrecked, suit wrinkled, hair disheveled, eyes red from lack of sleep. I'm so sorry, he said immediately. I'm handling it. My lawyers are... Your lawyers can't unpublish this. She showed him her phone, the article, the comments. Hundreds of them. Thousands. They're calling me a whore, a scammer, saying I trapped you. They're wrong, but they're loud. Her voice broke. And they know where I live. Junwoo's expression went dark, dangerous. Pack a bag. You're coming with me. What? Somewhere safe, somewhere they can't find you. He was already moving through her apartment, pulling out a suitcase. I have a house outside the city. Private, secure. You'll stay there until this dies down. I can't just leave my life. Your life is about to be invaded by reporters and photographers and people who want to turn you into a headline. He stopped, faced her. Please, let me protect you. She wanted to argue, wanted to insist she could handle this alone. But the twins kicked, hard and insistent, and she thought about cameras in her face, strangers shouting questions, the safety she'd built crumbling around her. Okay, she whispered. They left within the hour. The house was an hour north, tucked into wooded hills, gated and guarded, with floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked a private lake. It was beautiful in a way that felt almost offensive given the circumstances. This is where you live? Amara asked, stepping into the foyer. Sometimes, when I need silence. He set her bag down. There's a staff, housekeeper, chef, security, but they're discreet. You'll barely see them. Junwoo, this is too much. It's not enough. He turned to her, and the rawness in his face made her breath catch. That article came from my family. Catherine must have leaked it before I fired her. They're trying to force my hand, make you look like a threat, so I'll choose them over you. And will you? Never. The word was absolute. But I need you safe while I handle this. Handle it how? His smile was cold. By making it very clear what happens when someone threatens what's mine. The possessiveness should have scared her. Instead, it felt like shelter. The days that followed were strange. Peaceful and tense all at once. Amara worked from the house, her design clients none the wiser. Junwoo came and went, handling the firestorm she couldn't see from her sanctuary. But at night, he stayed. They'd eat dinner together, meals prepared by a chef who somehow knew exactly what she was craving before she did. They'd sit by the fireplace, talking until the words ran out. He'd read to the twins. Business articles at first because he didn't know what else to do, until she handed him a children's book and watched him stumble through it with endearing seriousness. You're terrible at voices, she said one night, laughing. The twins don't seem to mind. They're a captive audience. He smiled, set the book aside. Can I ask you something? Always. Do you ever wish it hadn't happened? That night. Us. All of this. Amara considered the question. A month ago, I would have said yes. My life was simple, controlled, mine. She touched her belly. But now I can't imagine a world where they don't exist. Which means I can't regret the night that made them. And me? His voice was quiet, vulnerable. Do you regret me? She looked at him. This impossible man who'd upended everything. Who was fighting his own family for a woman he barely knew. Who read terrible children's books to babies he couldn't see, and looked at her like she was the only thing in the world that mattered. No, she said softly. I don't regret you. He crossed the space between them, knelt in front of her chair. Amara, I know this started impossibly. I know we're building something backwards. Children before courtship, commitment before understanding. But I need you to know. He took her hand. I'm falling in love with you, not because of the twins. Not because of some half-remembered night, but because of who you are right now. The way you fight. The way you create. The way you make me want to be someone worthy of the family we're building. Her breath caught. You don't have to say anything, he continued quickly. I'm not asking for love back. I'm telling you where I am. So you know. Amara cupped his face. You terrify me. I know. Because I'm falling too. And I don't know how to do this without losing myself. Then we learn together. He turned his head, kissed her palm. We figure out how to love without consuming. How to build without controlling. How to be together without erasing who we were apart. That's a lot of figuring out. We have time. 3 months. A lifetime, he corrected. 3 months until they arrive. A lifetime to get it right. She pulled him up, into her arms. and let herself kiss him for the first time since that night she couldn't remember. It felt like recognition, like coming home, like the beginning of something that should have been impossible, but was somehow the most inevitable thing in the world. When they broke apart, both breathless, she whispered, "Stay tonight. Not in the guest room. Here, with us." "Are you sure?" "No." She smiled. "But I'm sure I want to try." He stayed. And for the first time since this all began, Amara let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, they could survive the storm. The meeting was set for Thursday. Junwoo's family wanted to discuss the situation. His mother, his uncle, the board members who'd built their fortunes on the Kang name and had opinions about who deserved to carry it forward. Amara wasn't invited. "Absolutely not," Junwoo said when she suggested she should be there. "I'm not putting you in a room with people who've already decided you're the enemy. They're going to be my children's grandparents. They're family. Family is who shows up, who chooses love over legacy." His jaw was tight. "They haven't earned that title yet." But Amara insisted. "If we're doing this, building a life, a family, I can't hide. They need to see me. No, I'm not going anywhere." He looked at her for a long moment. "You're sure?" Terrified, but sure. The Kang estate was exactly what she expected. Sprawling, pristine, cold. They were led to a dining room that could seat 30 but held only 5. Junwoo's mother, elegant and severe. His uncle, calculating. And 3 board members whose names she immediately forgot. Mrs. Kang looked at Amara like she was an unfortunate stain. "So you're the girl." Not a question, an assessment. "I'm Amara Cole." She kept her voice steady. "And I'm carrying your grandchildren." Alleged grandchildren. Junwoo's hand tightened on the back of Amara's chair. "We have a paternity test. Tests can be arranged." Mrs. Kang waved a dismissive hand. "What we have here is a situation. A young woman with a convenient pregnancy and a very wealthy target. Mother, let me speak." She turned to Amara, eyes sharp. "How much?" "Excuse me? How much money will it take for you to disappear? To have your pregnancy elsewhere quietly and allow my son to move forward with his life unencumbered?" The room went silent. Amara felt Junwoo tense beside her, ready to explode. She put a hand on his arm, waited, then spoke. "Mrs. Kang, I understand you're trying to protect your son. I understand this isn't the life you imagined for him. Showing up at a stranger's door with babies neither of us planned." She leaned forward. "But I'm not here for money. I'm not here to trap him or exploit him or whatever narrative you've built in your head. Then what are you here for? To give my children a father who wants them. To build something real with a man who showed up when he didn't have to. And to make it very clear that I'm not going anywhere, regardless of how uncomfortable that makes you." Mrs. Kang's expression didn't change. "You have no idea what you're entering. The scrutiny. The expectations. The world that will tear you apart for not being enough. You're right. I don't." Amara's voice was calm. "But I know I'm strong enough to survive it. Question is, are you strong enough to accept that your son chose me?" The uncle cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should discuss arrangements. Custody, financial support, a fair agreement that protects everyone's interests." "There's nothing to discuss." Junwoo's voice cut through the room like a blade. "Amara and I are together. The twins are mine. And if any of you try to interfere, I'll remove myself from this family and this company entirely." "You're being irrational," his mother said coldly. "I'm being a father." He stood. "And if that doesn't align with your vision of the Kang legacy, then your legacy means nothing to me. Junwoo, I'm done." He helped Amara to her feet. "You can accept this with grace, or you can lose me. Your choice." They left without another word. In the car, Amara's hands shook. "Did we just burn every bridge I've ever built?" "Yes." Junwoo laughed, slightly manic. "God, that felt good. Your family isn't my family anymore." He took her hand. "You are. The twins are. That's all that matters. They'll make this difficult. Let them try. His expression was fierce. I spent my whole life trying to be the son they wanted, building the empire they demanded, following rules that made me miserable. He kissed her knuckles. I'm done performing. I choose this. I choose you. And if the cost is everything I built before, it's worth it. Amara's eyes filled. You barely know me. I know enough. He cupped her face. I know you're brave and stubborn and so damn strong it terrifies me. I know you make me want to be better. I know that when I imagine the future, you're in every version I want to live. That's crazy. That's love. He kissed her, soft and certain. Crazy, impossible, backwards love, but it's ours. 3 months later, on a Tuesday morning in March, the twins arrived, a boy and a girl. Perfect and screaming and so small, Junwoo was afraid to hold them at first. You won't break them, Amara said, exhausted and radiant in the hospital bed. He cradled his daughter, then his son, and wept. They're ours, he whispered. They're ours, she agreed. His family never came to the hospital, but her best friend did. And Junwoo's assistant, the new one who'd helped arrange everything. And eventually, slowly, they built their own family from the people who showed up. The Kang Empire continued without Junwoo. He sold his shares, walked away, and started something smaller, something his. A tech company focused on accessibility and education, something that mattered more than profit. And Amara. She built her design firm into something beautiful, working from home when the twins were small, eventually hiring a team, creating a life that was messy and full and entirely hers. They got married 2 years later. Small ceremony by the lake, just them and the twins and the people who'd chosen to be their family. Do you ever regret it? She asked that night, after the guests left and the twins finally slept. Walking away from everything you built? Junwoo pulled her close. I didn't walk away from everything. I walked toward the only thing that mattered. And what's that? This, you, them. He kissed her forehead. A life I actually want to live. Years later, when the twins asked how their parents met, Amara would laugh and say it was an accident. A wrong number. A photograph sent to a stranger. Junwoo would add that it was fate. And the twins would roll their eyes the way children do when their parents are being impossibly sappy. But late at night, when the house was quiet and they were alone, Amara would sometimes pull out her phone and look at that original photo. The one that started everything. The picture of her belly, sent by mistake to a man she didn't know, and she'd think about all the impossible things that had to align for this life to exist. A hotel room neither remembered, a night that created everything, a single photograph that brought him to her door, and she'd whisper to the universe, "Thank you for the beautiful mistake," because sometimes the best things in life are the ones you never planned. Sometimes love doesn't announce itself with trumpets and certainty. Sometimes it just shows up desperate and trembling, claiming the impossible. And sometimes, impossibly, beautifully, the impossible becomes the only truth worth believing. The end.